Hello YouTube. Hello everybody. How y'all doing? Hope everybody's doing great. I really do. I want to show you something. Alex Jones put up this just the other day, today actually. Put it up today, this morning. And they want everybody to, do what they want to do. Make something, do something. It says it right here. Okay? Now, I agree with it. Everybody should do something. I do. I'm not going off on nobody. You may think I am, but I'm not. Throughout this whole video, or hangout, whatever you want to call it. Showing you this because this is a fight back against Big Brother. It's got no shares on Facebook. It's got 19 tweets and 1 Google Plus. Really? Is it being censored? Maybe. Maybe not. I've come to find out and got a few conclusions about some things. There's a lot of YouTubers out here. And a lot of them in the truth community. Some of them get big views. And it's curious to me and very strange how some of those people get views for 1 or 2 days. Yep. They get a whole bunch of views in 1 or 2 days, and then they kind of die off. That's strange. And it takes my videos, mine, I can save mine because I see it. I know what happens. I get 200, 300 first couple of days, maybe sometimes, and then it's 2 or 3 days later, then I get some more. Have y'all noticed that? I know you have. That's neither here nor there. But with someone as many subscribers as I have, and as many views as I used to get, seems like that would go away. But this is my opinion. Some of you may agree, some of you may not. But see, they have a paid organization out there, a group. They constantly email you and want you to join their group. Well, I think, this is my opinion, this is what I think. I think what they got going on now is a system that they take views from real people with real subscribers, with real viewers, and they invert their views and their traffic to other channels, these other paid channels that are paying for views to make money. That's my opinion. And no one can convince me otherwise. You know why? Because it's very strange to me how some people have grown so fast and so quickly in just a year or two. And I'm not going off, I want everyone to understand this. I'm not going off on anybody. And I ain't got nothing against anybody making money. I don't. Everybody has to make a living. They do. And it's all in how they go about doing it. See, some people go for donations, like a tip. When you go into a restaurant, your bill's, what, $20, and you give them 10, or really the going rate's like 20%, so you give them like $2 or something like that, right? All right. Well, What's wrong with people growing donations? Or what's wrong with people having ads on their channels? Don't know. See, for a very long time, I've been on since 2009 on YouTube. I didn't make one dime off of YouTube. None. Didn't make no money off of WordPress because you can't put ads on there. That's what I had to begin with. Tattooed1009wordpress.com. Okay. Now, when I upgraded to my web page, okay, that started coming out of my pocket. I have to pay for that. It's so much a year. And, you know, people have complained about my site being slow. I have pretty much fixed as much as that as I can do without going one step further with the servers. In other words, I am on a server with 500 other people. Okay. Now, to go away with the slowness, I can buy my own server. But I don't have the protection that I would have as I got now for hackers and whackers and trolls and just plain old ass morons, okay, that want to hack your programs. Whether you think they're doing or whether you think they're not doing it, doesn't matter. Or someone trying to subscribe to your inbox over and 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 over again. That stuff happens all day long, every day. And if you got your own server, then you got to buy a whole bunch of other stuff. Okay? You got to buy it. It ain't free. None of it's free. None. They don't give it away. That's just like Comcast and AT&T. They're fixing to start charging you for overages on bandwidth. Well, when they do that, then they're going to start charging us more for our websites and our web pages and our blogs and all of that. Why? Because it eats up bandwidth. Some of you understand this. Some of you don't have a clue of what I'm even talking about. And I understand that. I'm not going to go through and show you or tell you or talk about it because it's just too technical for even me to try to explain it. I'm still learning how to do it myself. Now, I have got it working a whole lot better than it has been in a very long time. Well, I'd say for the last 4, 5, 6 months. And it works great. It does. Now, just the other day, I started something. It was me that started it. I'm not going to lie. The 5th of July starts. Begins July the 5th. Okay? Now, the reason why I started this is because I don't know how many of you are out there that really realizes that everything that has happened to you is because of democracy. I just don't know how many of you out there that really don't understand this. It's really corporate greed is all it is. And as long as we got corporate greed like we have it, we're never going to be free. And as long as we have democracy in this country, we're never going to be free. And I don't mean democracy as in freedom, as most of you really think that that's what it means. That's what you've been schooled to believe. It's not. It's 51% of the people. That's the way we vote, people. The only thing about our republic is the voting system. It's democratic. The democratic word is the word they use to get the word democracy. Yes, if you don't believe me, please oh God, please look it up. Okay? That is how they do it. They're not playing with you. They're not giving you any chance. Obama said the oldest constitutional democracy. And be quite frank, I'm very surprised how many people actually said anything about that other than me. And I don't know anybody. Still to this day, I still don't know anybody. Except for the ones of you that have actually pushed the information and said something on your own without a YouTube video. I haven't never seen another YouTube video about it. Maybe I hadn't looked hard enough. I don't know. There may be one out there. Don't know. I'm not in here really to bitch about other people. I am in here to talk about why the information about this particular day is not being handled by everyone on YouTube. Now, I want to be quite honest with you. If you don't like me, that's fine. I understand. Some of you feel like I've done some real crazy stuff, real mean, and whatever. Doesn't matter. You generally don't understand the scenario or the significance behind some of the stuff that's happened. You don't. And even if you did, you probably still would go against the grain, which most people do. They go with the following people. They go with who the actual person gets the most credibility to run behind them and push stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you something else about that. Did you know that you could actually buy comments? Yes, you can buy views, you can buy comments, you can buy likes, you can buy dislikes, and you can also buy comments. And you can forget to the right person or the right program or the right programmer. He actually gives you a questionnaire putting which questions you want to put on there. Sure do. They do. I'm not lying. They have that. Yes, they do. Some of it's expensive. Some of it's cheap. And if you're actually the programmer, maybe it's just entirely free for you all the way around. You know what I mean? But it's like this, folks. It really is. If we don't do something about our freedom, we're going to lose them. There's a guy on YouTube. His name is, let's go look and see what his name is. Where is he? Jason A. Okay? And he made this video. And he done a very good job of this video. And I don't know how good the quality is, but I would like for y'all to listen to it. It's about 11 minutes long. We may stop in between at different times and talk about some of the democracy that is being talked about. Okay? So listen to this.
But using the slogan, they got through the USA Patriot Act, which removes many of our liberties. Nobody made a sound when we lost habeas corpus, due process of law. Suddenly Bush managed to get rid of it. Where was the voice on television, aside from mine, that spoke out against this? Where are all those noble jurists, those great lawyers, those lovers of liberty? Where the hell were they? They were nowhere. Now we have a totalitarian government. And the totalitarian government wants to watch everyone, total surveillance of everyone. They listen to the telephone conversations. They look at your credit cards. They look where you travel. We are totally policed. This is contrary to everything in our Constitution.
A 2010 Pentagon directive details what critics say is a policy that envisions the Obama administration's potential use of military force against Americans. The directive has non-controversial provisions on support to civilian fire, emergency services, and domestic use of the Army Corps of Engineers. But the Washington Times reports that the troubling aspect of the directive is that it outlines the presidential authority for the use of military arms and forces, including drones, in operations of domestic unrest.
Believe it would be constitutional for the government to target and kill any U.S. citizen with a drone or with a shotgun without due process. Nor should any president deploy armed drones over U.S. soil.
Okay, well, a troubling new report is now revealing that a secret memo from 2010 outlined the administration's potential use of military force against Americans in the United States of America. A defense source brought this to my attention and was fairly concerned about it, said, look, this appears to be the latest step in the administration's decision to, at some point, use force against American citizens in the future. There are a lot of people concerned about this, and then you see this memo in connection with the growing militarization of many of the non-security agencies of government.
In Connecticut, tens of thousands of residents have failed to comply with a new law that requires gun owners to register all military-style rifles with the state. In response to the Sandy Hook school shooting that resulted in 26 fatalities, Connecticut passed one of the strongest gun control measures in the nation. It's estimated that only 15% of gun owners have applied for assault weapon certificates, meaning the remainder could very soon become Class D felons.
Well, I think they're going to have a hard time putting this back in compliance, especially when precedence is already set here in Capitol Hill with our president, who is changing the laws, which he's breaking the federal laws every day with what the stance that he's taking on different legislations, primarily his healthcare plan. So people look at that and say, well, why should we abide by these laws if the president is breaking these laws?
Days after a mass shooting and stabbing spree by a California college student, a number of state lawmakers are pushing to make it more difficult for potential killers to get their hands on a gun. In California, state lawmakers are now considering a bill called Assembly Bill 1014. It would create a first-in-the-nation gun violence restraining order system, similar to the way domestic violence restraining orders are issued. If granted, police could then temporarily seize any firearms the person already owned and add their name to a list of people prohibited from purchasing weapons.
Tanks, guns, armor, all tried and tested on the battlefield. Now some of it is here in central Indiana on our streets being used to keep us safe. It's surplus military hardware that's found a new home.
Fox 59's Russ McQuaid tonight shows us how some of our local police departments are now armed for war.
Surplus U.S. military hardware is coming home from the wars, being assigned to the streets and back roads of central Indiana to keep Hoosiers safe in time of escalating homeland violence. Once it patrolled Afghanistan. Now it's an armored SWAT vehicle with windshields that can take a direct hit from a 50 caliber weapon, a gun turret up top, the armor to protect at least a half dozen cops inside.
When I first started, we really didn't have the violence that we see today. The weaponry is totally different now than it was in the beginning of my career. Plus, you have a lot of people that are coming out of the military that have the ability and the knowledge to build IEDs and to defeat law enforcement techniques.
This is Congressman Hank Johnson.
Georgia Congressman Hank Johnson is worried about...
Did y'all really understand what he just said? They're really gaining up to have military forces against you, the people. That means all of us, folks, whether you're in the military or not. And he's wrong about the guns. They've had a lot of these guns for thousands, well, let's don't go that far, but at least 50 or 60 years. They've had machine guns for a long time, and we don't even have the right to own machine guns without a special permit in this state. And that's federalized so hard that you will be very lucky to even get one to start with. But the police department's getting machine guns to go on the streets? Really? They just shot another dog. Right here. Just shot another one. And there's the video. You can go see it. It's terrible. They just walk in because he had surveillance cameras on and his alarm system went off. Well, the dog might have tripped the alarm system, but they didn't have to go in and shoot the man's dog. Even if the dog was growling at him. All they had to do was back up. And they could have seen that there wasn't nobody in the house because the dog wasn't going to let them be in the house. If they were growling at them, they're going to growl at anybody else, correct? Yeah, well, there you go. It's just my opinion, people. You know, whether I'm not trying to abolish the Act 1871. I'm trying to bring awareness to it so we can abolish it. And if enough people stay at home and understand why they're staying home, and if enough of you great big YouTubers that have the robot systems or don't have the robot systems push the information, besides just me and a couple of others that remix some of my videos, I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to the people that's got thousands and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, or 200,000 subscribers, or 100,000. People, we going to lose our country. We're going to lose our freedoms. And if you think democracy is what you really want, it's not. It's not what you want. You want freedom, don't you? I think it is. Let's listen to some more.
Pentagon spending and small-town cops who have acquired helicopter parts and boats and bayonets and guns they don't need or can't keep track of. He's ready to write clampdown legislation.
We've been reporting about this all along. Police are arming themselves to fight against your average American citizen, conservatives, patriots, and definitely returning military. Why aren't people seeing this? Well, perhaps because their local news stations are massaging it into their brain that this is completely normal. According to the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court, police officers no longer need warrants to search a person's vehicle. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled 4-2 that police officers can search a vehicle without a warrant. Critics say the ruling gives too much power to police and will infringe on citizens' privacy.
Are you ready for the next big thing? It may be moving in with you. The Financial Times reports that next week Apple will announce a new way to connect you to what techies call the Internet of Things.
One of the concepts people have been talking about is Apple getting into what they call kind of the smart home or the Internet of Things. That's an area a lot of big companies like Google are very interested in, so you know Apple's got to be interested in it also.
If we have this sort of home invasion, if you will, by all these devices, do you think this is something consumers want or are going to embrace?
You know, it's something we've thought about since the World's Fair, since the Jetsons. It's an intriguing concept. I'm not sure how much of it people actually want to integrate into their lives.
Do you think this is the next frontier of technology then?
It's one of the potential next frontiers, and whether somebody, maybe a big guy like Apple, can get everything to work together, that's always the key, getting everybody on the same plan at the same time.
I would be fascinated if someone doesn't want this technology, because I think it's amazing. It's life-changing.
Yeah, certainly.
The National Security Agency is collecting a massive trove of...
Did you hear what she said? I don't know anyone that wouldn't want this type of technology. Well, let me be the first one to raise my hand. I don't. I don't want to be surveilled in my own home. Does anybody else? Can I get an amen? Sure. I don't know, I'm getting one. Somewhere. If and when whoever sees this, when they do or don't do. I mean, no one wants to be surveilled. No one wants that. No one wants a drone flying over their back of their house and looking in their backyard when they got a privacy fence. Because they're in the swimming pool, swimming naked if they want to. Because it's their yard, their home. But you can't do that anymore because somebody might be a peeping Tom. Right? I'm just saying, for, you know, just for giggles, if that's what you want to do. Okay? Let's listen to the rest.
Images that it intercepts over social media, emails, and texts, some which are so clear it can use them in its facial recognition operations. According to the New York Times, top-secret NSA documents indicate that the spy agency's global facial recognition technology has seen huge growth in the last 4 years. Millions of images are intercepted per day, only adding to the huge database of personal information that government can have on individuals, both American and foreign. Civil liberties advocates worry the program seems to be operating in a legal vacuum.
Controversial new curriculum in New York schools still making waves in the education community. Last night, parents, teachers, and students came out to voice their concerns about Common Core. If attendance is any indication of how concerned parents and students are about Common Core standard, then the packed room at Carmel Town Hall said it all.
If you look at the way that this has been implemented, it's a complete disaster.
Common Core standard is a new curriculum implemented in schools across the nation. The goal of Common Core is to put students on a level playing field and help prepare them for a global economy. However, many teachers and students say it creates a factory-like environment that stifles individual learning and puts pressure on educators to only teach to the test.
You know, we're creating unneeded anxiety, really using our kids as guinea pigs in a failed experiment. We really need to put the brakes on Common Core.
It was the testimony from the kids that had the biggest impact.
Yeah, I love to be creative and express myself, and they're not letting us do this. It's kind of just the same thing over and over again.
Well, New York received $700 million from the federal government in exchange for accepting Common Core. 45 states, including New York, have implemented the curriculum in their schools.
And now to Florida, where a school teacher allegedly humiliated a 12-year-old boy in front of an entire class after she caught him reading the Bible during what was designated as free reading time.
Begin with that shocking lawsuit, a Connecticut family claiming their 3 daughters were brainwashed into joining a religious cult by teachers and, of course, that guidance counselor at the high school.
On the outside, it's a typical suburban school, but on the inside, a new lawsuit claims 4 staff members at Avon High School in Connecticut tried to brainwash 3 sisters, and their parents had no idea, indoctrinating them, quote, into a religious cult that promotes martyrdom and celebrates death, leaving them flat and distant, reclusive, secretive, and non-communicative, adding they began speaking in a bizarre new language and cut off all of their communications with the family.
This case strikes at the heart of the First Amendment.
It's absurd. Why don't you have the arrest? Why don't we do that as a nice First Amendment lesson, right? It's absurd, but everybody's playing around about what the content of this is. Nobody's talking about censoring the book. Nobody's talking about banning the book or burning the book or anything.
Would you please be respectful of the other?
Like you're respectful of my daughter, right, and my children. And you put this book out. Why don't we read the notice that was put out?
I would ask. Would anyone else like to speak?
Because I violated 2 minutes.
Anyone
Did
else
you get up for
like
those?
to be recognized? Somebody in the back.
This is ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Can you take Travis?
The world is changing with accelerating speed. This presents opportunity, but also new dangers. It will be your generation's task to respond to this new world.
Where we face new challenges. This is the world you are graduating into. To lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century.
Okay, everybody. Y'all heard that video, didn't you? Did you see the man get arrested for speaking his opinion about his daughters? Is that what y'all want? Is it? That's what democracy is, folks. That's where 51% voted a certain way against the way you vote. This is what we're supposed to be right here. A democratic republic. That's what we're supposed to be. We are. That's why on the 5th and the 6th of July, the day after Independence Day, would be a good day to start a new fight. Not violently, but by just staying home. So we don't have to say from our cold dead hands. We can, but don't say it in the point to where you actually have to mean it. We don't want to have to go to war with no one, because it's going to cost lives. That freedom always does. But sometimes you can actually change the course of history by being a free person and standing up for your rights the right way. I can't say it any plainer than that, because I don't know any other way to say it. I really don't. I'm not saying I'm the smartest man in the world, because I'm not, but I sure ain't the dumbest. And there's a lot of you out there I know that aren't dumb. And I know that there's a lot of you out there that knows all of this. That's what breaks my heart. Why the same people are not actually doing anything about it. Alex Jones a few months ago, when a troll fight or troll war, whatever you want to call it, misconception, an angle of different truths about people, no matter who they are. Alex Jones pushed, I can't remember the guy's first name, his name's Maxwell's last name. He actually did a documentary on the Act 1871 and telling people about their freedoms. He did. And I'll be quite honest with you, that's the very first time that I have ever seen Alex Jones push anything about the Act 1871. Not to say that he hasn't done it in the past, it's just the first time I have seen it. I have heard him get real close to talking about it more than once. But for some reason, he shuts off. Maybe it's because he'll lose his sponsors. Maybe he'll lose his radio license, his broadcast name, his broadcast identification license. I don't know. Because he does do shortwave, does radio, complete radio, and he does a live broadcast after the fact on YouTube. That could be why he doesn't do it, and he lets other people do it. I don't know. It could be because he knows if he does do it, he'll get slammed and jammed and thrown under the bus like me. From anything from, you name it. From me being in the NSA or you name it, okay? It doesn't matter. But I can be assure you of this. I'm not. And I also can assure you of this. I've been one of the biggest persons on YouTube. One of the biggest YouTube channels to ever push the Act 1871 the way I do. And all of you have to know that. I thought if I pushed it long enough and hard enough that enough people would wake up to the fact. But there ain't enough people getting the information. And it's up to all of us, not just me. I'm just one person. It takes a group of people. You don't have to like me. I don't care. I didn't start this to become friends or be your buddy or scratch you on the back or rub you on the head and tell you did a good job. That's immaterial to me. We're not here for none of that. We really aren't. It's nice to be friends with people, and I like to be friends. I don't like to be set up, and I don't like to be conned around, and I don't like to be pushed around by people that think or say that they can do anything they want to because they got a big YouTube channel. And there's a few of those out there. And they have used their YouTube channels to attack other people, like Alex Jones, Dutch Sense, and several others. I'm not going to mention their names because it doesn't matter. If y'all don't know who that is by now, or who, let me rephrase that, not who that is, but whom, all of the ones that have done it, because there's more than one. There's way more than one. There's some of those guys that's got a bunch of channels that have big channels along with them that do the same thing. And they go around and they say different things to different people. Hurtful things to people. And lies. And it doesn't matter what they said or who they said it to. It was said. Straight up. That's what starts the fights to start with. Intentionally. People get mad. After a certain period of time, someone's going to make somebody mad. Wouldn't you agree? Yes, you would. And guess what it all boils down to? It's about either donations or it's about how much somebody's making on YouTube with ads, donations, paid viewing. Doesn't matter. Some of you don't even know how much it is. Some of you think it's ungodly amounts of money. Well, I can assure you of this. If you ain't got a super channel, and I'm talking at least 150, 200,000 subscribers, and they're legit channels, understand what I just said, legit channels that are actually linked to you. They're not bots. They wasn't bought. They wasn't paid for. But if you literally got that many subscribers, and they're real people, like Mark Dice, for instance. Do you think that this man, he's got 288,000 subscribers, and I know that there ain't one person on here that don't know who this guy is? Do you think for 1 minute that he ain't making money on YouTube? He's got ads on his channel. He even advertises his 3 books. You can see them right here in the picture. Now, am I going off on him for that? No. He's entitled to advertise his business or his product that he wants to sell. He's entitled. I don't have nothing against him for that. The only thing I have against any big YouTuber like him or Alex Jones, or there's too many to even name. There really is. I'm just giving you a for instance of 2. But there's bunches of them, you know that. That all of you watch. Have you heard anybody in the last week even mention that stay home the 5th and the 6th of July to begin and start an awakening revolution for the people? It's an awakening, folks, about democracy. That's all it is. We have to free the people. Somehow. We have to free their minds to where they all see what's going on. If we don't, in this video right here that Jason A. put out, you're going to be all these people that are in here. Everyone. Like this guy. He got arrested for speaking out. Do y'all want that? It's about our freedoms, people. He should have been able to done exactly what he done without being messed with or anything, arrested or anything like that. I'm just telling the truth. Y'all know that. These cops, they shouldn't have shot that poor dog. He didn't do nothing. He was in his house, his own house. The dog was in his house. He had all rights to growl at those guys. He had all rights to bite them because they broke in. They kicked the door in to go in their house. They couldn't look in the window and see that there was a dog in there and know that there wasn't going to be nobody in there. It was just the alarm system. But they go in, kick the door in, and then shoot the dog, and then they say they're justified for shooting man's dog? Really? That's democracy, people. That's democracy. You want a democratic republic. That's what we were founded for. We wasn't founded for a democracy. We wasn't founded for that for any reason. Democracy is destroying our world. The more democracy that gets in this country, the more fighting and more wars that you hear about happening. Like Ukraine. We're fighting with Russia. That's going to blow up. It looks like that's going to blow up into a extreme major war. I mean, there was just what is it? Right here. Let's go to it. If it opens up, because I know I'm using some bandwidth here. It's this right here. Yeah, I got a web page on this. You can go over and see, and there's a video right there. You can watch it. But this is all I need to show you. This is an American surveillance plane. That's a jet. Russian. Now it flew and turned out in front of it and went through this jet's air path from the exhaust from this jet, which was accelerating at high speed, could have caused two of those engines to lost enough oxygen to them engines to stop, and could have caused this plane to crash. Now, has this kind of thing happened before? Back when the Cold War was going on? Are they trying to send a signal? Or is their democracy trying to show us that our democracy is not as big as we think it is? You get my drift? Because, see, if we were a republic, a straight up democratic republic, and we the people voted the way we were supposed to, which everybody's sick of voting because they all know it's rigged. If we voted in a person that was for real and knew it was for real, then maybe this kind of stuff would stop, because we would bring home our American troops out of harm's way and not be in a war to start with. Because the Taliban and all of those fighting modes that are going on all over the world, in Iran and Iraq and all of that stuff that's happened, all a big propaganda story for all of you to believe and think that 9/11 itself was about your freedoms, to take them away. Now, who is going to win the most out of getting rid of 9/11? What's happened since 9/11? Pat downs, scanners at the airports, TSA, touching people where they shouldn't be touching them, gun control hundreds of times worse than it's ever been, free speech zones. Do I have to go on? Y'all all know this. So why can't all of you accept that you're a republic and let's fight for it? Just once. For 2 days. An awakening to the people. And push the information that is true in your heart and know where your freedoms are. If we can wake up enough people on those 2 days and show people that we are a republic and not a democracy, we just might have a fighting chance. If we don't, and we don't try, you might as well put your head in the sand and stick your butt up. Make sure you Vaseline it pretty good, because you're going to get it, whatever you wanted. Whether you really wanted it or not, you're going to get it. You're already getting it. You're paying property tax that you're not supposed to pay. You're paying income tax that you're not supposed to be paying. You're paying profit on your savings accounts. If you make too much profit or you make any money on it, you get a W-2 form or whatever form it is. I don't know exactly. I ain't never had enough money in savings to know. But you get a form for that to do on your taxes, so they can tax you on the money that you have. And if it's an inheritance tax, they sock it to you. 45% or 48%, something like that. All of those things are illegal. They're unconstitutional. But they keep saying it's constitutional. Under democracy it is, folks. That's why we were born as a republic. That's why your forefathers pushed you to be a republic, not a democracy. That's why it's not in the Constitution, and that's why it's not in the Bill of Rights. They have two constitutions. They're confusing one with the other. One is for democracy, and one is for the republic. It is. I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes. It's up to us, people. It really is. You know, I probably talked more than I probably should have. Probably said a lot of things that might have hurt a lot of people's feelings. But I love my country. I love my children. And I love all children, actually. And I love all animals, no matter what kind. I don't want to see no one be abused. Like the dog. Or like any human being. They're treating people the same way that they treated that dog, and y'all know that. I ain't been showing a lot of those stories lately. Mainly because I can't stomach it anymore. They're still happening. They still beating the shit out of women and still beating the crap out of men. They are. It's just, guys, I just can't stomach it anymore. I can't stomach watching that kind of stuff and bring it to you and show you and then get crucified for me even bringing it to you because you didn't want to see it. I don't bring it to you because I want to. You can be damn sure of that. I don't bring it to you for review either. You know why I bring it to you? Because you need to know where your freedoms are and where your freedoms are going. That's the only reason why I bring you that stuff. It's to open your eyes and to enlighten you of what's happening and a possible fix to the problem. Because the Act of 1871 wasn't done legally, and neither was a bunch of other laws that they passed shortly after. It's all up to us, people. We can live in this farce land of bullshit and end up being total insignificant slaves, to where one day you won't even be able to, you'll be able to have a child, but they'll take it from you from birth and train it the way they want it to think. That's coming. That might be a few years from now, but they're already talking about it's the community's place. It's not your child, it's the community's child. We all have to get involved in their teaching and their learnings. We can't agree on the sky's blue or brown, much less the community trying to raise one child or a community of children. Really? Or the government teaching our kids complete nonsense in school instead of teaching them about their history and their own government, their real history. They don't teach them nothing. My son and my daughter, my two youngest ones, they brought home one of their history books, and as far back as I could find in the book, the only place it went to was the Vietnam War. That's communism. Really? And I didn't learn nothing about the Act 1871 when I was in school. Did you? No. You didn't learn nothing about it. Because they've had it hid for 143 years, folks. They're not going to stop. They're really not. And they got groups out there that are infiltrating the same thing about the Act 1871. They do. But they use the word democracy. I showed y'all on a video just the other day. I'm not going off on them. Maybe they honestly made a mistake. I did write them. I did ask them to change the words. And as far as I know, they haven't changed them yet. It still says democracy. We're not a democracy, folks. If you use the word democracy, then the Constitution will stay the same. You'll still use the second Constitution instead of the first. So remember, folks, from my cold dead hands, abolish the Act 1871 for your freedoms, for God's sakes. Y'all have a good night and a good day. And want you to join their group. Well, I think, this is my opinion, this is what I think. I think what they got going on now is a system that they take views from real people with real subscribers, with real viewers, and they invert their views and their traffic to other channels, these other paid channels that are paying for views to make money. That's my opinion. And no one can convince me otherwise. You know why? Because it's very strange to me how some people have grown so fast. That's strange. And it takes my videos, mine, I can say mine because I see it. I know what happens. I get 200, 300 first couple of days, maybe sometimes, and then it's 2 or 3 days later, then I get some more. Have y'all noticed that? I know you have. That's neither here nor there. But with someone as many subscribers as I have, and as many views as I used to get, seems like that would go away. But this is my opinion. Some of you may agree, some of you may not. But see, they have a paid organization out there, a group. They constantly email you, showing you this because this is a fight back against Big Brother. It's got no shares on Facebook. It's got 19 tweets and one Google Plus. Really? Is it being censored? Maybe. Maybe not. You know, I've come to find out and got a few conclusions about some things. There's a lot of YouTubers out here, and a lot of them in the truth community. Some of them get big views. And it's curious to me and very strange how some of those people get views for 1 or 2 days. Yep. They get a whole bunch of views in 1 or 2 days, and then they kind of die off. Hello, YouTube. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Hope everybody's doing great. I really do. I want to show you something. Alex Jones put up this just the other day, today actually. Put it up today, this morning. And they want everybody to, you know, do what they want to do. You know, make something, do something. It says it right here. Okay? Now, I agree with it. Everybody should do something. I do. I'm not going off on nobody. You may think I am, but I'm not. Throughout this whole video, or hangout, whatever you want to call it. And so quickly, in just a year or two. And I'm not going off, I want everyone to understand this. I'm not going off on anybody. And I ain't got nothing against anybody making money. I don't. Everybody has to make a living. They do. And it's all in how they go about doing it. See, some people go for donations, like a tip. You know, when you go into a restaurant, your bill's, what, $20, and you give them 10, or really the going rate's like 20%, so you give them like $2 or something like that, right? All right. Well, what's wrong with people growing donations? Or what's wrong with people having ads on their channels? Don't know.